Sports Car Racing driving tips brought to us by Discovery Parts. And again, we appreciate Discovery Parts working with us on these videos. They bring some great things out of their catalog. If you go to their website, you're gonna be amazed at what you can get on there and get yourself all geared up to go to the racetrack. What we're talking about today is spinning cars, right? Hopefully you're not the one spinning, but more often than not, if you go around the track long enough in endurance racing, you're gonna find somebody spinning in front of you. So we're gonna talk about some of the things to be careful of and maybe how you can hopefully avoid getting in trouble. All right, so when you have spins on track, they usually don't tend to be on the brake zone. Yes, if somebody locks it up and they spin, but that's really not where it happens. More often than not, most of the spins happen right as they carry too much speed into the apex, and so they spin past the apex, or they drop wheels off and come back on track. What we're going to talk about today is when they're in the middle of the turn. I think that's one of the places where we all find it more often than not. So let's just pretend that we're behind somebody. And again, we're going to be this green car right here, okay? And now the blue car comes in. He carries too much speed to the apex, right? So this is the blue car. He's coming in right there. And then he carries too much speed, and next thing you know, he's looping it, right? He's sideways. He shouldn't be sideways like that. Now, here's the things you have to be doing. Usually you haven't just come up on this car. You've seen them for a couple turns coming into it. If you start to notice somebody as you're coming up on them and they're missing apexes, they're kind of getting sideways, that's the car that usually is going to spin. Spins don't just happen out of nowhere. They more often than not happen when a guy or gal is in the car and they're missing apexes and they're half sideways as you're coming up to them. And that's when you have to be very careful of this. So when that happens, one of the things that you have to think about is, where do I go, right? I'm coming in. Hopefully if you've been doing what I just suggested, which is starting to notice when this car is doing that, maybe that's the car that you give a little leeway to going into the turn. But where are you gonna go? They're spinning. They're here right now. Well, what you should be doing is slowing down and figuring out what the car is going to do. If it's just spinning sideways, it's more often than not they're going to release the brake and go out of the track, right? They're going to be going this way. And when they release the brakes, that's why when you do this, you want to be aiming for where they're at as they're spinning, okay? Now, that's the golden rule you're supposed to do, but if this car looks like it's not just spinning and then going to go backwards, if it's starting to loop like this, that's when you need to be looking at a different route, okay? So when you're looking at that route, you need to be looking, okay, maybe I need to go here, and I may need to drop my tires off the grass. Don't be afraid to go through the grass. Going through the grass is one heck of a lot better than getting hit, okay? Now, I can sit here and tell you this till I'm blue in the face of how this works, but it doesn't always work out like you think. I had a race just recently at Sebring. Actually, I used this example because this looks like turn one at Sebring. Went into turn one, I had a car in front of me, been behind him for maybe half a lap. I had noticed that they were being unpredictable. And of course, eventually they went into turn one and spun. And I did exactly like you were supposed to do. I went in, side, and I thought they were gonna release the brakes and go out, and instead they locked, and instead of letting it release backwards, they just stayed exactly on the apex, and I had nowhere to go at that point in time. I hit the car, got knocked out of the race. Funny part is I was leading the race at the time too, so that happens to everybody. So I'm just telling you, even though I'm telling you how this is gonna happen, you're only gonna see it happen exactly like I'm predicting maybe 80% of the time. There's always gonna be an unpredictability about it, okay? So, but again, what you wanna do is be siding up of a car before you even get to it, it's gonna have problems. And then if it looks like it's gonna be into a slide, they're gonna probably roll backwards. If it's a spin, they probably will spin to the inside and you want to go around the outside. And again, don't be afraid to use the grass. That's still much better to lose a little bit of extra time than it is to get damaged like I had and I was out of the race.